Morning!
Morning! So after a good, amazing 2 months in Papua New Guinea in the Louisiades, what are we going to do?
We're sailing to Solomon Islands, so our next country, or our second country that we've ever sailed to, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, like we've really loved it here and we could stay much longer.
Yeah, we don't really want to leave because we feel like we haven't fully finished our visit here, but we have to leave because of cyclones. We want to get out of the cyclone area, and there was already a Category 5 cyclone that hit Vanuatu this year a couple weeks ago, so that means that cyclones are starting a bit early, and yeah, so we just want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Get out of this area.
Yeah.
Be safe.
I mean, even though there is islands and anchorages where you can hide from cyclones here, by heading to closer to the equator, we're going to be less likely that cyclones will come there, and then we'll spend the next half of the cyclone season up in Micronesia, where there's none at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of cool stuff to come, a lot of unknown. So there's always nerves and for a crossing, but I think we're pretty prepared this time. And
yeah, I feel a lot more confident going into this crossing, and hopefully we're gonna have less swell. That's what we're planning for.
Yeah.
Not 3 meters this time. Let's stay under 2. All right, let's go.
Right. So we're so paranoid about having another rough crossing. And now we have the opposite problem. We've ended up with not much wind at all. So we've got all the sail up we can. We are doing just under 3 knots, maxing out at 3. We want to really be doing kind of averaging 5. Otherwise it's going to take, twice as long. So yeah, 2-3 day passage could be, 4-6 day passage. But it's lovely. I might go for a little swim, come back. So calm, that puppy can grab coconuts.
We were so worried about time, or about the crossing and being so rough, that we were planning to pre-make all of our food. But then we got lost in PNG time, so where time is timeless, and ended up having dinner at our friend's house and didn't prep anything. But obviously this was why, because it was not rough at all. We can do all the cooking we want.
Wind's slowly picking up a little bit.
You're staying so positive.
Huh?
You're staying so positive.
We'll see how the feathers switch around.
Yeah, what's your invention here?
Well, I just wanted something as like a telltale, or let me know which way the wind's coming from. So I tried to put like a string or a bit of cloth, but the wind wasn't strong enough to even lift that. So then I used one of Poppy's many feathers, a peacock feather to be exact, and tied it on a string and tied it off the stay so it lifts up and in the direction of the wind.
And why do you have to do this though?
Because we don't have a wind vane and it's really light wind, so it's kind of it's harder when it's light to tell which way it's coming from, especially when the angle changes.
What happened to our wind vane?
Not really sure. I think from falling from the top of the mast like 12 meters up quite a few times, and bird attacks and storms and different things. Water's leaked in a bit, and yeah. Morning. You enjoy last night?
Not at all. Pretty horrible. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was a shit night. It was there was no moon, so you couldn't see anything. We only have one torch left that works, plus lots of rain. Heaps of squalls coming from different directions, so it'd go from no wind that would literally be drifting to near 30 knots in different directions, and we ripped the screecher.
It's been hard, especially for me, because we broke our wind vane, which I've become very reliant on. So especially when I was sailing, I was just having a very hard time figuring out which direction the wind was coming, and being on a crossing, like, I don't know, I thought maybe the direction would be pretty constant and you stay that one tack, but it was changing like every hour. You'd be a completely different direction, and we set up these feathers, but at night you couldn't see the feathers to tell your wind direction, and then having to constantly switch the sails on different sides.
So yeah, more consistent today. We got a consistent angle, consistent wind. Swell's a bit more, but that's fine, just to be moving
We're actually
forward.
happy with the swell for once.
Yeah.
Having no swell means no wind, and then that's even worse.
So yeah, now it should be from here about another 1.7 days. So
Hopefully.
we're a little bit behind schedule, but overall it should be about 3 days.
Just wanted to show you guys something that we got given from a fellow yachty while we were visiting the Louisiades, which was really nice. So they gave us some harnesses, because what did we have before? Like parachute, paragliding?
Well, they were just horrified that we have no railings. The non-skid on the boat is not very good, and we would move around the boat freely without any kind of attachment. The most we had on the first crossing was some lines tied that would just physically hold on.
Yeah. So we figured after the last crossing how swelly it was, and that we would be extra prepared, right? But then we had no wind, so ironic. But anyways, we still had set these up, so we were given some harnesses, and we set up these ropes here so that put yourself like this rope here on the back, and it'll slide. So if I'm doing something and I fall off the boat, I'm not gonna go overboard. I'm gonna stay with the boat. And then we put another line up here.
You wanna show us?
Which we had to do a lot yesterday, adjusting the sail. But normally I don't, like the first crossing we didn't even come up here, but yeah, so I'm attached all the way. And then if I want to go even further, I'll attach myself to this, which will drag even further. Which on our last crossing would have been good, because Brian did go up the front to try to save this kayak that nearly went off. You just never really know what's going to happen. Thank you to Tony and Iris from Tuaki. They gave us these harnesses, which just gave me a lot more feeling of security last night when I was sailing by myself, and having a few meltdowns because I couldn't figure out why the wind kept switching around and which direction, and yeah. Feathers that Ryan set up, so if it's blowing this way, I know that the wind's coming this way, which means that we are close hauled, right? Mm-hmm. Close hauled, so we want to pull in the sails a lot tighter because the wind's coming this direction. If it started blowing this way, I know it's beam on, so about 90 degrees, and then this way it's more downwind.
So we have about 50 nautical miles to go.
Oh, really?
out of the 300.
Oh,
Aside from the first day, first night really, it's been pretty uneventful. It's just a bit of a mental challenge. For some reason more on this one, I felt a little bit more seasick and stuff. Not bad, but enough to make you want to go have to sleep.
I've actually been doing alright.
Poppy's been doing better.
Like I sleep all the time, but that's because of the swell, but I haven't taken any seasick tablets. I don't know, maybe I'm a seaman now.
Bit nervous, bit excited, bit of this, bit of that. Going new country, and hopefully they'll let us in. They'll let us in, why wouldn't you? Not really much has happened. So, yeah, it'd be nice to have the screecher in this light weather, but that's ripped.
Yeah.
Look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait.
I look bored.
No, you just look deep into it. Which is what you do a lot on the crossing. You just think and stare out, and it's like sort of like a meditation. You can't really do anything. You just sit and think, or just be.
Just be.
Just be in the present moment. No internet, no distractions. You can barely read. You can barely do anything really.
Oh, yeah, you could pretty much sleep and stare in the distance.
Yeah.
And maybe eat if you feel okay enough to cook.
Yeah, it's more just eating because we feel like we should probably eat. And then, yeah, occasionally we talk to each other.
About all the events going on in the day. Oh, did you see one bird?
How's your day been?
I saw one bird. Flying fish.
Yeah, one of the most exciting things that happened today was watching the booby like swoop down and grab the flying fish.
A booby's a bird, by the way, in case people
Yeah,
don't
not
know.
Puppy's boobies. That would have been even more exciting. But...
Wait for better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of love.
The feeling! Woo! After how many days?
I think we're on day 3.
Night 3.
Night 3. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Sun is setting, and we could just make up the tiniest little shadow of land up ahead, which is super exciting.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd see it before it went dark.
Yeah, but yeah, we're still about 40 some nautical miles out, so we won't be there till tomorrow morning, but we're almost there. Just seeing that little bit of land really gave a lot of hope.
Yeah, but early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, early tomorrow morning.
Arrive in the darkness again.
Yeah, like we do.
7 years now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. Wait for our home to show on the horizon. Soon we'll be there. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we